Despite being 3 fights down, Israel Adesanya is still bent on beating his rival Alex Pereira. And as he gets ready for a rematch at UFC 287, Izzy is no longer interested in the title. He just wants to settle the score. I know what you're thinking right now. How does he even expect to settle the scores despite being 3 down? Well, 2 of those losses were in the domain of kickboxing, while 1 was in the UFC. And since this is going to be their second meeting inside the octagon, the last stylebender is hopeful he can level the scores at 1-1. And honestly speaking, I think he has a solid chance of doing just that. I'll tell you why I think that in a bit, but first, I quickly want to go over what he has to say about UFC 287.
We'll have one more final face-off before I touch him, and I'm going to touch him bad.
Little trick. Get him a little more time. Got to clean it up.
Surprisingly, Izzy claims he didn't really want to fight the Powhatan after their first meeting back in November. He wasn't interested in keeping scores, but settling them? That's exactly his cup of tea. He isn't about to let the Brazilian walk away with a win over him at the promotion, and that's exactly why he doesn't care about anything now. The belt, the rankings, whatever. Izzy does not care. All he wants to do is put an end to Pereira's dominance and show everyone he's beatable once and for all. Whether he'll be able to do it or not is a different story, but as far as the matchup goes, I think it's going to be super exciting. This will be the first time fans get to see Izzy chasing revenge, but he doesn't plan on making too many adjustments. The last time we saw them square off, Adesanya was actually winning the battle. I'm not saying Alex was completely out of the fight or something, but on paper, Izzy was running away with it, and it was only because of that last sequence that Pereira got the victory.
Adesanya is in the green with gold trim. Alex Pereira is in the yellow.
I just know I want to be the best, so I'm here to prove that I'm the best fighter in the world.
Oh yes, you and me, don't worry, but they're going to be with me. They're going to be with me in spirit.
But apart from that, it was complete dominance. And at one point, the Powhatan was actually saved by the bell as Israel landed a fury of blows, wobbling his opponent. And with their next meeting just a couple of months away, the Nigerian knows he doesn't have to make too many adjustments to win the battle. Because when you think about it, he's winning until he isn't, if that makes sense. I don't know what it is. Maybe Alex has his number, because Adesanya doesn't look weak during any point of the fight, but it's just a single second of carelessness or brilliance from the Brazilian that gets him in trouble. And I'm not sure if you remember or not, but the former middleweight champion did hurt his leg in the first round of the fight back in November. So maybe that also had a role to play in the fight. But either way, it's going to be a really action-packed competition because, like I said before, fight fans will be seeing a different side of Izzy. But let's not forget, Alex will also be coming in hot, cause he's been keeping a close eye on Adesanya. Just a day after the fight, Alex shared a video of himself watching the fight and pointing out where he could have done better. So, just focusing on how Izzy is going to be a different fighter at UFC 287 would be unfair, because this is Pereira's first title defense. The last thing he would want is to lose it to the guy he won it from. And if you ask me, I think almost everyone in the fight world knew this rematch would happen. As soon as Alex won the belt, it was 90% confirmed that we'd see them fight again in a rematch. Because when you've dominated the division for so long, you're worthy of a rematch. Or think of it this way, since Izzy showed the fans and judges that he was actually winning the fight until the very last second, there could be a twist in the tale. Maybe Adesanya has indeed transformed into a better fighter, and it's only fair we get to see that, right? But yeah, back to what I was saying earlier, the Nigerian might not be making a lot of adjustments, but Alex will. He'll be much stronger in some positions this time around. But at the same time, Dana needs to realize something here. This rematch could possibly relock the division if Israel wins again. Since he's already defended his title against the top contenders in the division, Alex being at the top was actually good for guys like Whitaker. But since there's a chance of the former middleweight champ being the king again, it could spell trouble for the weight class. That's not Izzy's problem though. He He doesn't care about what it could mean for the division or what fighters think. Like I said before, he's hell-bent on leveling the scores. And all those things people say about him not being able to compete in a stand-up contest, here's what the last stylebender had to say. The former middleweight champ claims he's not gun-shy. If that's what the fans want, then he's going to give them just that. I go in there and I don't overthink. I'm not gun-shy. I go in there and I trade with people. To be honest, he's right about that. He gave Alex a run for his money, and despite all the criticism, he was way more tactical than the Brazilian. But that's not the problem. The problem is Pereira's knockout power. There's no denying Alex looks like the scariest fighter at the promotion. But want to know what's even scarier? His knockout power. I don't know about you, but I think he could knock out anyone on the planet with just one punch. And that's exactly what makes him so dangerous for Adesanya.
The big octagon seems to be favoring Adesanya right now, but Pereira's having a lot of success. He had a good first round.
All right, here we go, round one for the undisputed UFC middleweight championship.
The Nigerian could be on top for all 5 rounds, but all Alex needs is a second. Just one punch is enough to shut him down and derail his efforts. So, when fight fans finally see them square off at UFC 287, Izzy will need to work on a lot of things. The fact that he's openly admitted to not making any significant adjustments is worrying. And after fighting him 3 times, you'd reckon the former middleweight champion would be really good at reading him by now, right? But that's not what it looked like in the 5th round of their first meeting. What's the point of telling you all this, though? Well, Izzy doesn't need to talk about fighting him in a stand-up contest. He just needs to play his natural game. You know, when he controls the distance and baits fighters into certain positions. That's literally all he needs to do. And I think once he realizes that, beating Alex will become a whole lot easier. But let's stop beating around the bush. Who wins? I have my money on Adesanya. He's free now. He doesn't hold the title anymore, and on top of that, he doesn't have to defend it either. Izzy is a free fighter who's out to get revenge. And speaking from experience, I think that's the fighter you don't want to mess with. The MMA world has seen countless examples of fighters who've risen to the top after being ridiculed and counted out. And as for Pereira, he'll need to make some significant adjustments because his performance was anything but extraordinary the last time we saw him fight. So, at the end of the day, both fighters will need to make corrections.
Been 25 minutes in MMA.
Oh, nice right hand by
Nice
Izzy.
right hand by Izzy.
One of the greatest title fights you will see.
Hey, Rob,
I'm the champion. Let's go.
Crush your enemies totally. If you leave any sign of life, they'll come back for revenge.
Izzy, on the other hand, has his work cut out for him because, with the exception of that last-minute TKO, he won all 5 rounds. Anyway, it's going to be an interesting fight to say the least. That's what Izzy is thinking with only a few months until UFC 287. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.
I haven't peeked at an opponent. I haven't peeked at anything but focus on the man in front of me because, yeah, we need to get this done, and we will get this done.